How are you all doing tonight? Nice to see you again. see, DBZ. Yeah, it did bug out last time. I tried to fix everything this stream, but I still don't think it's doing that well. But how are you guys doing today? I'm loading up Rivals right now, so it might take a minute. And my shaders are also probably not loaded, so you can chat for a little bit while it's loading. Doing good? That's good. You guys eat dinner yet? Made it through another day. Let's go! But I'm doing well. I'm doing good. I actually woke up very late today, so I'm a little tired right now because I'm like half asleep. I got my good coffee though. Got coffee. Got some agua. Energy drinks are preparing. We should be good. I ate dinner. Yes, thank you for asking. I did eat. I had some ramen. Technically, it's my breakfast. Had ramen for breakfast. Is that healthy? Probably not. But I can tell you it was delicious. So, and I'm a little out of breath right now because I just ran up and down the stairs. I tried to make it on time because I clicked start streaming and I had to go, you know, take care of Bean. And then I ran upstairs to grab him some food. So he's eating right now too. It's his time to eat. So I'm out of breath from running. And my chat disappeared, so I can't see what you guys are saying. What is that? What is that? Oh, I see. What the fuck is that? Okay, it's loading. What the heck? You need to eat something better. Oh. I just see what you said, DBZ. You're still waiting to see if you get accepted or not. Hopefully you do. That's very exciting. Oh, that emoji's so cute. Can't stay for a stream today out of... Oh, a fancy dinner. Oh, happy birthday to your daddy. Sorry, that sounds weird. Happy birthday to your father. I hope you guys are having an amazing day and eating something very yummy. I got issues. Well, I forgot there's new skins too. Oh, is that a Summer Soldier's skin? Guys, no! Let me stop blocking the screen. Pew. Oh, I feel so short now. I feel like a short little Anna. Cute. Fix me a little bit. Ugh. Get my headphones on. There we go. Okay. Oh, you got... Yeah. You were grinding hard, DBZ. All your updates, I was like, damn, you still going in. I would wake up probably like 6 a.m. for a quick second and I could see you... Right when I got my headphones on! That's me! That's me! This just scared me. I forgot I had those jump scares in there. Oh, hell no. I need to turn this down too. Hi, Grim. How are you doing? Oh my gosh. Grim, your stream literally killed me. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta tell you about that while I was working. Having my headphones in, listening to your stream, literally, it's a different breed. I'm trying to full screen the chat on my phone and it's not letting me. I don't like that. Ah! Oh, you went for a spa day. Oh, okay. I just saw that. Wow, that looks nice. Seems relaxing. It's over here. It's storming outside. It was raining pretty hard earlier, so I'm glad that you guys were able to go out for your day. Seems very nice. Would be funny and shit. Yeah, nah. So I'm sitting there and I'm just trying to make some drinks, and all I hear is something about someone wanting to be a masochist or something. I was like, what the fuck? And my headphone fell out a couple of times, so I would pick it up and I put it back, and all I hear is just a suspicious violence. I'm like, what's going on? This is free? Oh, I want to buy it. I get paid tomorrow, so I'm probably gonna buy it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy it, guys. I can't resist. I can't. It looks so nice. Are you serious? Wait, so that's kind of BS, because like all the points that I had from last time, they don't transfer over. Oh hell no! That's BS. Bullshit. Okay. I forgot the battle pass is still on. My shaders are loaded. Are you guys able to join for competitive? I don't think you are. I know Grim's not able to. Wait. But are you allowed to? Okay, yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Well, I want to do my placement matches first, so I haven't done any. It might take a minute for all that, but afterwards, if you are still up for a Grim, I'm so down to play. Sorry, my phone's just not standing. Can you stand, please? I need to get a stander for this shit. I'm so unprepared. Get out of here. Ooh, soul frame. Soul frame. So he's gonna. Well, Graham, you can't join. You're playing on the PlayStation. Unfortunately, you have to be excluded this go around. Oh! Wait, yeah, he can't join because he's on PlayStation, right? Yeah, that's why. Not because of the placement matches, but like just because you're on PlayStation. And yeah, stay safe, Jedi. Enjoy your time. What happened? Oh, Chris. Hi, Chris. How you doing? Ryoma! Sorry, guys. My chat is like way behind on my phone. It's like popping up way later. How you doing, Alex? I see you over there in YouTube. Right now, we're waiting. They left while it started? Mother freakers. I wondered. I was like, I thought at first you left. I was like, wait, what happened? You doing good, Chris? That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I thought you were streaming, Ryoma. I saw you streaming earlier. How did it go? I feel like I missed it. See, I can't. I need to stop using my phone. I used to use my computer to read the chat, but now I have YouTube on my computer, so I'm trying to multitask. I'm still testing to see if I can multitask Twitch and YouTube at the same time. If anyone chats in YouTube, you'll be automatically like, #1, I believe. Because I see... Just watching how you can win another match. Let's go! Let's see if I can do it, though. I'm also trying to lord my Luna. Wow! Oh my gosh! Yeah, the Black Panther looks so cool. Look at him. Look at him! Dope. I love it so much. You know, I'm very impressed how fast you can lord these characters on DBZ. I'd be struggling. But then again, I don't play that often. I really only play with you guys.
Coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
it gotta be set up where you can see the chat in your OBS. So I can see it in my OBS. The problem is my screen. I have like a portable monitor and it's like feet away from me. At least that's how it feels. I need to bring it closer so I can actually see it better. I'm blind, as you guys may know. This bat goes off of hearing, not seeing. Crab's the best. What kind of crab are you talking about, sir? Wait, maybe I should have done a quick play, because I forgot how to play. Oh shit, yeah, I should have like practiced first. I just went straight for it. I'm cooked. I'm sorry. And no, wait, Grim, so I had not seen Spider-Man yet. I forgot to also let you know that. I have not seen the new Spider-Man. I've been re-watching all of the MCU movies. Starting from Captain America, because he's one of my favorites. Shit. Oh my gosh. I'm cut. Shit, let me load. Run away! I should just run away! Fuck! We're good. We're alive. I should go heal myself, but like, he definitely not gonna survive over there. Oh my gosh. Fuck! Run away! That's crazy. I don't know how I survived. Thank you for protecting me, sir. Oh my god. Oh fuck no! Hell no! Leave me alone, lady! Leave me alone! 55 deuce is crazy. Thank you, Haven. Good luck in your game as well. Are you sure you will survive with Luna? I believe you can. You're very sweet. I appreciate you. Since you guys have faith in me, I shall have faith in myself. Sorry, I forgot my thing's like hella clicky. I'm thinking if I should change it or not, because I haven't played in a minute. Did you ever find that, well, I guess you're playing the game right now, DBZ, but after you're done, did you ever find that pro controller you were looking for? Because every time I looked up, oh shit, I just hit the wall. I'm so bad. Every time I looked up that controller though, it's overpriced, bro. Even the resellers, it's like, oh, fuck. It's like the Pokemon cards. He's leaving me behind. I'm cooked. Fuck! Why she looks so good too? She looks too good. Wait a minute. Okay, sorry. Hold on.
Back in the fight.
What's wrong with my YouTube? My bad, guys. Sorry. I was looking at my YouTube, the stream manager for YouTube, and it was all the way in the beginning of the stream, and I was like, wait a minute. That can't be right. That can't be right. It wasn't. I just... Okay. No. Come on! Ah! Watch out! No! Yo, you got... Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, DBZ. Deep Daddy got you. Fucking Deep Daddy, bro? Hell no. Oh my god. I'm putting on a show. Y'all got this. It's Deep Daddy. No. Get out of here. I'm sorry. Fuck that. No, please. We got this, guys. We got this. You can do it. Oh, hell no. I'm cooked. Bro, you just ulted on me. Like, the whole team is behind me. He got me. Oh, no. She got him, too. Oh, okay. You got this. Oh, my God. He's just spinning. I'm dead. Right now, I do not currently have a rank.
0.
Also, hello, Samurai.
To switch things up, including which side.
I appreciate you. But we're doing my placement matches, so we're gonna see what I place. If I could predict, it's gonna be bronze. Bronze 3. Yeah, bronze. I know. Last season I ended on bronze, so I'm hoping to get higher. The highest I've been is only silver. But I only got to silver because... Oh, placements are next season? Wait, what? I thought it started today. I thought it started today, though. Oh, okay. Wait, no? But I didn't do them.
Get ready.
I didn't do my placements, though. Chat, oh no. I just took out a 10k bank loan to pay... Hey, let's go! You know, Grim, I support that. If you need help robbing the bank... If you need help robbing the bank, I will put down for you.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2...
9 point... Oh! I thought it was season 10 already! I didn't think it was 9.5. I was not paying attention, clearly. Wait, then why did it restart, though? Never mind. This is my brain. I'm thinking about something else, then. The fuck? Well, then I, like, missed advertised this whole video. This whole stream. What is that? Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, it's not working. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I got distracted, guys. I got distracted. I need to focus. I need to lock in. Leave me alone, strange. We can go Squirrel Girl for Squirrel Girl, lady. I'll probably beat you. But that's not my goal for this one. I need to focus. Get the stupid squid out of here. My girl, no! No!
I was worried.
Wow. Okay. Where? It's like, where am I getting shot from? From above! You think you slick? I used to play Symmetra and over... Okay. Alright. I'm alive! I thought I died. Never cooked. I'm cooked, guys. I'm cooked. That's alright. I think placement. Yeah. The tanks are being good. Be careful. Healers are important. Yes, sir. You're right. I'm doing my best, guys. I tend to lock out sometimes, though. You know, the opposite of lock in. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Watch your back, lady. Watch your back. Okay, she's going in! She's going in! Shh. Where? Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow, good job. You guys are amazing! Good job, team. Taking a little breather. Taking my breather!
So much.
GG. I'm so scared. Oh, they're gonna come up from behind.
Only 60 seconds left.
Come on, you got this, bro. Wait, I can't get you over there!
It's okay. Admit it. You need me.
Okay. Smells like a fish. Oh my gosh, speaking of fish, my roommate made something with fish sauce in it. And if those who know I don't like seafood, so the house does stink a little bit. Be careful. We got it. We got it. Oh my gosh. You guys are the best. GG, guys. GG's. Is it new so people know how to play? 100% you are right. Wow, MVP. Congrats, sir. See, bronze 2. Wow, I'm ranked higher than 5.2% of the people. See, but why is it just now? Wait, did I not finish it last time? Impossible. Impossible. Well, you guys did amazing, regardless. Well, then we're gonna try and get my rank higher. How about that? How about them apples? Because I swear I didn't do my placement matches. But I guess I did. I'm ready. You're just that good, DBZ. You're gonna outrank me. You're too good. Well, you already outranked me, actually. I don't know how to play. Wait, man, you can join us, can't you? Or are you working right now? Stay hydrated, guys. Get some ASMR hydration. Manta's level 14. Hey, let's go! Oh, wait!
You'll need a top-notch team to
I thought you said Mantis. I thought you were talking about your lord. I thought Mint was 15 already. Level 15, let me clarify that.
Like the moon, I shine.
I thought you did hit level 15 too, but I guess not. Aw. Matchmaking, sometimes your team is not the best or the enemy is skilled as fuck. Yo, you're so right, Alex, because so I was playing competitive off stream one day and for some reason it was so bad. It was terrible. All my teammates, they were raging because the enemy team was just too good. Like, I kept getting targeted, you know, because I'm a healer. And I spawn died, because they're just waiting for me at the spawn. I wish I got it on stream, or at least recorded it, but I didn't. I was just trying to, you know, relax one night. Relaxing, playing Marvel Rivals is crazy. Wait, it's the same person! We're playing with the same guy! Crab the best, okay.
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
That's funny. She has a tendency to let people win. No, I don't! No, I don't. He's lying! Don't ever listen to him. He's a liar. I don't let people win, and you know that. They're behind me. 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 Okay, they're not. I'm just tripping. I'm going crazy. I don't like this map either. This map sucks. No, no, no. You want some of this? Oh wait, I forgot the hood is on here too. I haven't played this in a minute. How long has it been? A week? Maybe? I can't aim fast enough. I can't aim either. But I'm randomly aiming. I guess that's what I do on a daily anyways, right? But oh, damn. Why does he have a machine gun? Shit. Oh. I'm scared. We're cooked? I'm cooked? Back off me. Back off me, lady. Back off me! The X-ray's on the map. Oh, yo, I didn't even realize that.
I've still got songs to sing.
I didn't even realize that, Alex. Yo, thank you. I must swap healers. Was I healing by myself?
Who needs shoot?
Nah, was I? No. No, he was Jeff, that's why. Okay, I'm tripping. I just checked that I am 15. See, I thought you were 15, man. So you can join us if you want to. No pressure. Fuck that hoe. Fuck that hoe. Ah! This bitch, you want... Okay, fine, fine. Try to kill me. Try to kill me.
Armed and dangerous.
Get him. Get him. He got this, bro. He got this shit. Yeah, I completely did not realize that there's x-rays on this map. That's just me being a blind bat once again. I need to be more careful. Oh my gosh, get off of him. No, he died! I'm sorry, sir. Shit, oh shit, oh shit. Okay, okay, the red hose. He's on me, he's on me, he's on me, he's on me, he's on me. No way! Shit! Fuck you, bitch! Fuck off of him! Where'd he go? Did he die? No, he's okay. He's alive. He's good. He's good. I don't want to be with Venom. Oh my gosh, man. I need to heal faster. Oh my god! I'm sorry, guys. Fall back. Fall back? Hey, I'm right where you want me to be, sir. I listen. I was about to say something very inappropriate. I need to calm down.
Claim your trophy bloodstone.
You really should have gone harder. Oh, much better. Magic.
Out of your league? Man, it's not out of your league. Sorry, just saw your message. Like, do you see me? You can still play with us. DBZ is out of my league. My hands are sweating right now. Also, I forgot to mention my AC is not working once again. You guys know I like it cold in here. And where I reside in the castle is definitely not cold. So I think I broke the AC again. So I left it off. This pendeja, leave me alone! I'm not saying it, man. I can't say it. I mustn't say it.
I'm making a
I need to be innocent. I am innocent. Oh, I'm scared. I missed. Run away. Run away. It's embarrassing. Run away.
Thanks for the shield.
You're having luck. There wasn't any duelist making your life hell right now. You're right. You know, you're actually right about that. Because I always get dived on. They want to dive on me. Consistently. Yeah, run away, pendeja. Run away! They left? Why would they leave? No!
I am ready to put on a show.
Can't kill me now, can you? That's how I rage bait you. Ah!
60 seconds left. Reckless now.
What you want? What you want this? Kill her! Where they at? No! Please! Stay alive! Stay alive! Oh my god. I died. I died. Did you freeze it again? Yeah. It's like on the verge of getting frozen. So it was a little icy on my AC, so I just decided to turn the AC off so it could unfreeze. So right now my AC is off. No, Venom. Yeah. Wait. Okay, I'm following you, lady. I'm gonna poke you the best I can. They're behind us, though. They're behind us. They're on us! They're on me! Fuck it! I gotta do what I can do! Nice save. I tried, but it didn't really work out that well.
The current score is 1-2.
Or not.
Time to switch things up, including which side.
I love that. Keep going.
Right heroes could make all the difference. I'm Luna Snow.
So, wait.
Like the moon,
But wait.
I shine in darkness.
I don't know what to do now. I don't think I should play Luna. Decisions. Oh my gosh, I am hot though. I'm so hot. I got a little ice pack on my forehead right now. It's just water. Cold water. Nice cold water. You know what I need? Coffee. Coffee. Should we surrender? Should I? Triple support. Stay Luna. Okay, bet. I got you.
He'll be coming in 30 seconds.
I just hugged a lot of coffee. Hopefully it links the wires in my brain to work. I usually save my healers using a Wolverine. Annoying Venoms. For real. You know, people like you are appreciated. Because I feel like a lot of people don't pay attention. At least the people I play with. Not like my Nightlilies, my community, not them. But when I'm playing off stream, dude, they literally just let me die. And then they complain and like, heal me, heal me, heal me. And I'm like, I can't heal you if you don't protect me. Where are you? Why are you all the way over there? Shit! We're cooked. We're done. We're done. We're done. We're too separated. We're too separated.
Thanks so much.
There you are. You are. You're frozen.
Systems restoring. Be strong
No, no,
together.
no, 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 no. I got you. The best that I can. They're gonna die over there. Oh my god, oh my god! No!
We're finding our groove.
I'm scared, I'm scared. Come on, anxiety is gonna go up. I feel like I can see, but I'm blind at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Shit, 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 shit. I missed all of them! How did I miss all of them?
It's okay. Powering up.
Okay, there we go. What is that?
Girl, ladies, boys.
Sir!
A nice deep freeze. I was in trouble.
Okay, he was kind of smart for that, I'm not gonna lie. Ah! I froze him! I got somebody! Shit, shit, shit. Okay, there, I got her, got her. Okay, okay, that's scary. There's a lot of people over there. Ah! Venom! No! Shit, 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 please, please, no!
It should have been me.
No!
Thanks so much.
I should run away. I should run away. I should run away. No! What should I do? Leave me alone! Shit! I should buy more soundproofing? No. I think it's okay.
Someone needs a snowball.
I think it could. I appreciate the offer, man. As you may know, I do be loud when I'm screaming, but that sounds very out of context. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm embarrassed. I'm just gonna jump in. Fuck it. Fuck it. Go in! Fuck it! Go in as best as you can, bro! You got this! I hope. No, we're cooked. No, we're cooked. He's on me. 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 There! Get him! Please, 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 you, you. Ah! Leave me alone! Leave me alone! Okay, okay. Not okay, not okay. Shit, 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 please. Fuck, fuck, no! She got me. She got me. If you are alone, you... Oh, go back. You read that? What? What happened? Where'd it go? If you're alone, you can't do more but regroup. You are correct about that. Sometimes I debate if I should just jump on the point so I can... How do I do that? Ah! Just kill me then, pendeja. Kill me! You can't even kill me while I'm standing still! You got a shield on, you stupid motherfucker.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
But, wait, I love falling asleep to Marvel Rivals videos and waking up to auto play taking me to streams of people I've never seen before. That's hilarious, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I may have woken you up then because I'd be screaming a lot. The Mize Ghoul? Yo, you got a cool name though. Welcome. Welcome in. What an introduction. We had 4 players. Oh, this is my favorite skin right here. I love that. Okay, Mint. It's okay, DBZ. I know you're doing the best that you can. Trust me. I know you do amazing when you play, so I never blame you. It's not your fault. If anything, I need to walk in as a healer. But did you want to join in, Mint, or are you outie? I invite you. Oh dear, no worries. Keep trying. You know, I love how supportive you are. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Alright. It's okay. You know, you got this. Have faith in yourself, Mint. By the way, what other Luna skins do you have? I will show you while it is loaded. I have her summer skin. This one was gifted to me by my amazing Nightlilies. This one's also gifted to me. So cute. And then I bought her summer skin because I love her summer skin. Those are the only ones I have right now though. When I first started playing Rivals, I did make a not a promise, but I guess I tried not to spend money on the game because when I played Overwatch back then, I used to drop a lot of money on those loot boxes. And then it turned into a free game, and then I felt like I wasted my money for nothing. So I stopped playing for a while. And then Marvel Rivals came out, and I was like, ooh, this is nice, this is cool, I like it.
Pick your hero
So,
or villain. I'm not judging.
like in Overwatch, I made Mercy. And I had all of her skins, like all of them at the time. Every time her skin came out, I bought those loot boxes just to get them. And then, you know, if you know Overwatch lore, then now you know what the game is now, so it's different. I haven't played it in a while though. Last time I played it was last time I streamed it, which was months ago. Cute. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, hello. Hi. If you're wearing headphones, guys, just headphone warning, you know, because I do be jump scares in my Twitch chat. There's like these sound alerts that's connected to there, and it does just, it's very loud, so I may just scream. Throw my headphones off sometimes.
Too busy saving the world with your new crew to save the world with your old.
No, I like this skin though. Look at her, she's so cute. It's so cute.
The battle starts in 5,
Makes sense, don't spend too much. Not like me!
2, 1.
I try not to, but then when the summer skins hit Marvel Rivals, I was like, you know, I do have some money I could spend after all the bills. I got money left over from my mortal job paycheck. Let me just drop 20. And then I dropped 20. I was like, okay, I'm comfortable with that. Let me drop another 20. And okay, now I need to stop. Now I need to stop. I need to go back, I need to go back. I'm too close, I'm too close, too close. Oh my gosh, what is that noise? See? You're doing amazing! You're doing great, man! I feel bad for Grim now, he's just left out. That game Grounded too actually looks really cool though. Shit, almost got her. Oh, cooked. Back off. Get out! Back up! Back up! They're gonna get us! Patty King! Patty King! Gosh. Stop! Oh, nah. Did I just is that an Emma? Heal, 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 healer, 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 the healer, healer, healer. Okay, we're good, we're good. That scared me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. shop is actually locked in. How are you doing, Ghost? It's been a minute since I've seen you over here. Hope everything's been well.
Cover me.
As good as new.
My lady, I'm sorry. Let me heal you. Let me heal you. I haven't spent a dime. Oh! Oh, I'm dead. I just read the rest of it. I'm escaping because I'm broke. I'm sorry. That was my original position. Up until I learned how to budget my money a little better. And my supporters helped me a lot, honestly. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my god, no, 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 no. I'll kill you! Overcooked. Okay, we're done. I'm gonna keep my distance right here. No! Screamer time! Oh, that's funny. I like that. He said, hi! I didn't see his hi, so he jump scared me. That's a perfect way to get my attention. Just use them noir gems, guys. I know I keep refunding you your noir gems because I want you guys to be rich in noir gems. I don't know if YouTube has something like that. If they do, I'm definitely gonna be having fun with it too.
30 seconds before you attack.
I shouldn't be here. What do you mean? We're doing better that you're here, Mant. She's stabbing me. Can I help you, lady? Can I help you? Let's see how bad I'm doing. Oh, 3,000 is terrible. Oh my gosh. I need to... My bad, guys. Damn. Ooh. Wait, let me see that. Aw, it's cute. Look at the little thing on his booty. Oh. Spam the jump scare. What do you mean spam the... No, don't. No. Man is saving up for something glorious, which... I don't want to spoil it. I feel like I said it before, but I don't want to say it again. Guys, watch out. Watch. Oh my gosh, they're all right there. They're all there. I don't think I can reach you. Okay, I think I can actually. Ah! I froze him. Kill him.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Is it? Oh, is that? I'm sure. Well, I can't reach you.
It's okay.
You're good. You're good. I got you. Okay, I don't got you. Ah! No. Should I just? I want to ult so soon. I'm so indecisive. Fuck it.
I'm ready to put on a show.
Kill him. Kill him all. Aw, shit. You can't kill me like this, Magneto. You good? Oh wait. I'm cold. My bad. My bad.
Songs to sing.
Hold on, I need to write that down. That was so bad. That was my bad. I did not think his ult was that long. Yep, and it was. It was longer than I thought. It's like Wanda's, bro. She be like building up her ult to explode.
Be your best self.
Yum! Kill me!
Shields up.
Hide in the corner. Hide in the corner. Wait. Ah! Kill her! Oh, she got a shield. You got lucky. You got lucky. No, I can't read. Please, 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 stay alive, 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 shit, shit. Sorry. Okay. You're good. Thank you. The thing scared me. A mantis. I also wanna. After I lord Luna, I want to lord mantis, and then. I do want to play Emma too, Emma Frost more, but I'm scared. Watch out! They got me! saw another ghoul for a season in the chat. Oh, the second, yeah. I don't see. Wait. Oh my god. YouTube chat doesn't know I have a peach impediment. That's gonna be fun. You know, it's gonna be fun seeing Twitch chat and YouTube chat. It's like colliding worlds. When worlds collide! Just, how did I miss that? She said I suck? Yeah, I do. Don't clip that out of context though, please. I guess. Yeah, so there is another ghost. He is in the Twitch ghoul. I'm gonna clip it. No, no, clip it! No, don't clip that, please. Yeah, that's true. I do. See, yeah, good tanks. Man is a good tank. Oh wait, no, let me use the other one.
Hey, there are people who think I'm
Hana is Loki. Why are you calling me Loki?
Okay, when the time stream gets sorted out, we arm wrestle.
Whoa, wait, what is that? Is that a short? Is that supposed to be Jeff? I'm reading back the chat right now, guys.
2, 1.
Mommy Frost.
To do is capture the mission area. Got it?
We gotta lock in, gang. Please, they're saying in the squad chat. I'm gonna do my best, sir. I'm gonna do my best. Sometimes I be locking in, sometimes I just lock out. Oh my gosh, pendeja, get out of here. Okay, can't aim. I'm trying to keep my distance. Oh my gosh, no. Okay, wow. You got that. This is really good, man. Oh my gosh. It's really just my fault. You know, no, I can't blame myself. Have faith! I need to have faith in myself. You stop being negative. Negative Nancy over here. Thank you, sir. What? What?
Fear best self.
Bro, that's the timing. That was kind of funny. I'm not the only healer, sir. Oh my gosh.
Much better.
I'm not the only healer. I'm sorry. Doing the best that I can. Be careful, DBZ. You're a little far. Okay, no, you got yourself. You're. I never need to doubt you. You just scare me when you get too far. Oh, hello there. No. I don't want to feel my needle, no, bro. Don't want to feel him. Oh my gosh, I really do just suck with aiming. Please.
That's much better.
You good? Okay, he's good. Let me check over here. How do you Look, me and her. We're just trying to freaking get to you guys. You guys fly across the map. We don't fly. She can jump, but I can't fly first. Hello? Nah. No! Wait, how did he get me? No! Please. Because of your laugh sounds so devilish. Wait, mine? Hey, you know, I take that as a compliment then. Because I like Loki. If you've seen my TikTok, the post I actually did today is so funny. Fall back. But we're all together. Should I just ult? I can ult and you guys can go in. I don't know! I'm indecisive! Fuck it!
I'm ready to put on a show. Invisible?
Okay, good. You guys are all here. 8. Oh, hell no. Bro, I want. Miss your screen.
I'm making a comeback.
So far, the neighbors haven't complained ever since I got the soundboard.
Going to overtime.
Well, yeah, no, they haven't. Not since I got the. What is that thing called? The soundproof boards that Mint helped buy. If I had a nickel for every time a Jeff has tossed me off the map, I'd be crushed by the unbelievable amount of nickels. You know what? I feel that. I feel that. And GG, guys. Yes, GG. Wow. Look how cool it looks. Nice. Yay. We gotta win. Love that. Report Jeff if you want to rank up. Wait, what? Why'd they say that? Why'd they say that? MVP! Woo! Yeah. Let me see how bad I did. Oh. Yeah, no, I need to practice. I need to heal better. 8,000 is crazy. There was a time, the highest healing I did was, I think, only 20,000. I was so disappointed. I need to do better. I need to focus on healing more. It could be the heat in my house that's making me go crazier. More crazy. Crazier. Crazier is a word. See, now I'm questioning everything!
The right heroes could make all the difference.
I think that cute voice broke. Oh, thank you! Thank you for the compliment!
I'm Luna Snow. Like the moon, I shine in darkness.
It could possibly. Maybe the screeching goes so high to the point where it's like a whistle, and then maybe they have a dog and their dog starts barking, and I trigger the dog. Boom. Theory. Not a film theory. Ah! I didn't say Siri, I said theory. That's funny. Not even the soundproof, it broke the sound barrier. Oh, yeah, earlier I was talking about rewatching all of the Marvel movies. I got into one of those moods. Do you guys ever have the urge just to like rewatch something? I don't know. For some reason, that's been me with Marvel.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Like the next one I'm on is.
You have to stop them from securing.
Oh wait, I don't even know. Oh
missionary.
yeah, it's Avengers: Age of Ultron. Oh my gosh! Oh my god! Lock in! We got this. 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 We don't got this. We don't. There's a bitch over there. I mean, my bad. Sorry. I need to get better at my cursing too. I feel like it's just too unladylike. It's not good. Okay. No! Did she put her hands on you? I'll kill her! I don't care if I'm just a strategist. I'll do my due diligence. They can't put their hands on my Nightlilies. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. No!
We'll defend what's ours.
Guys? Why does... I'm not sure. Can you get out? Can you get out? Are you good? No, you're not good. You're not good. You're not good. You're not good. You're still not good. Shit. No! Leave me alone! You want throw hands? You want throw hands? Where'd they go? When I turned around, they're all gone. Poor dogs. I'm done. I wonder how Bean feels. Oh, Bean's sleeping.
You need to stop that vehicle.
YouTube Nightlilies. Bean is my dog. He's a Chihuahua. Just to let you guys know, if you hear me talking about Bean, that is my Chihuahua, my baby Chihuahua. He's not even one. He's literally a puppy. I should have jumped in front of everybody, but like, I'm a dedicated healer. What can I say? I'm trying to heal my people. my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay. Ah! Get frozen! Okay, well, I don't... Wait! You got a dog? When did that happen? Goose, it's been a while, hasn't it? I got Bean a while ago. I got Bean at the old castle. Yo, Bucky. Oh, they're talking smack.
They've made it halfway.
Nah! Okay, never mind. I thought I was talking about my Nightlily. I was about to go off.
Better stop that
But we're good. We're cool.
Be strong together.
Okay. But yeah, no, I got Bean a long time ago. I feel like it's been months. March. I got him in March. Get her! Yes, thank you. No! Fuck it! Hide? Where do I hide? Fuck! I thought I was in a good spot. I was not in a good spot. It's still not in a good spot. Ace means nothing. Oh, he going off. Okay. It's kind of funny sometimes, but I've dealt with some toxic people and rivals. They said, let's 1v1 then. I'm like, okay, we can 1v1, you'll beat me. Like, you think I'm scared to lose?
We are undefeatable.
Yes, alright, if you say so, sir. Shit! Oh my gosh. Leave me alone! Get away from me! Unless you wanna die. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know where to go. Like, I feel like everyone's so separated. Yeah, she got that nice skin too. I can't be mad. Imagine one of your neighbors just come and see your streams. No! I don't know what I would do. I think I would just... I would malfunction to the point where the stream would end. I would be like, who are you talking about? Not me. No, get your hands off! You and Rogue, I swear. Oh, fuck, I'm sorry, sir. Sorry. Oh, my healer died. Bruh. Can you do something else besides standing there? Ah! No. Healer. Okay, we're good. Oh. I don't know where to go. I can't get fast enough, dude. I can't get fast enough. Again? I'll hop my thing. Oh, I did!
I don't want to be center stage.
I don't know what I'm doing. What is that? Okay. Where?
Be strong together.
Leave me alone. I'm about to dance for real? What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean?
A nice deep freeze.
Okay, yes, sir. Laugh all you want, you pendeja. Huh? Oh my god, guys. I haven't checked chat in a minute, I'm sorry. Nice ice wall, thank you guys, thank you. I'm gonna take a wild guess, say Luna is your main. Yes.
I'm back in the fight.
So right now, I'm trying to lord her at least.
Score is 0.
So the characters I play most of the time would be Luna, Mantis, Invisible Woman, Cloak and Dagger, Squirrel Girl,
Top-notch team to win this one.
Cyclops.
I shine in darkness.
Okay, well, I guess I'm tanking.
The higher the pressure, the more dazzling the diamond.
If we lose, I'm just gonna say sorry. I haven't played my girl Emma Frost in a minute, so that would. Yeah, I know the Wanda wouldn't leave me alone. She got mad after I canceled her ult.
30 seconds.
She got me the first time, so all I did was do it back. Oh, so you're the healer type. That's honorable. Thank you, thank you. Yes, I do like to heal my fellow peoples. I feel like if I was a type of element, I'd be like water, because I like to heal people. I don't know why I resonate water with healing, but I do. Maybe because of Avatar.
3, 2, 1.
I was gonna blow you a kiss, but I don't have time for that. Alright, how do I do this again? What does this do? Okay, well I don't know. What does that do? Okay, it's whoa, dude, I'm telling you. Take! Okay. Where? Okay, what does this do? Oh, that's okay, I can fight people. Fuck! Put my shield up! Put the shield up! Where's the shield? I don't have enough. Okay, I'm cooked. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I told you I don't know how to play her. It's been a while since I played her. I can play Captain America. It's my man too. Okay. How about Ice Wall? Okay. How did I not die? She's healing me really good. Can't blame her. Okay. Okay. Well. Hell no! You want to throw hands? Okay. I just died. As terrible as I am at both of the characters, I played Moon Knight and Venom. Ooh, nice! I actually, when I first started playing Rivals, I played Moon Knight because I loved his character, like in the comics. Okay, bitch, you wanna go? You wanna go? Come here! I didn't even kill you, but I'm gonna take credit for that. But what's it called? Oh. Oh my god! Is that real? No way! Wow, thank you for the raid! I hope your stream is going well. Okay, I'm cooked. Okay, well, pretend you guys didn't see that though. Oh, you play Ultron too?
I'm back. And now
So,
hellfire to pay.
I really like Ultron, like, character, but the thing is, I can't play him for the life of me. I really did try, but I just can't. Come on, kill me, but I don't care. You think I care? Maybe a little bit? Maybe a lot? Alex uses Star-Lord? Oh, as your main? Okay. But you're skilled with Rocket, Gambit. Ooh. I really wish I could learn how to play Gambit too. It just takes time because his kit for me is just complicated to understand. I forgot how to do this. Dude, I can't do this shit! I can't do this shit! Maybe I should change to Captain America. I'm just going in. I'm rushing in. Not good. Fuck it. Maybe I should change. I don't know, I'm indecisive. I really can't play this person.
Emma Frost never surrenders.
It was. Took me almost 3 hours and a half to get one win. Damn!
Only 60 seconds left.
Ooh, my chat went away. Run! Run! You got them thunder thighs, lady. Not in a bad way. I mean like they're muscular. Like you think you could run.
Come get that vehicle to its destination.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't kneel to nobody. Fuck! I'm kneeling! Come here! Come here! Oh. Guys, I really I don't like this. I don't like this at all. The best sponge damage is Magneto. I mean, is he easy to play? Because if he is, I'll play him. I've never played Magneto. Should 2? Fuck it. Should I just, fuck it, alright. we're gonna see what this man does!
I feel like myself again.
I should have read what he does first. Oh, okay, I've got a shield. The fuck does that do? Okay. Put a shield up, protect my pibbles! Okay, I'm cooked. Shield up again, because I can do it! What is it? Wait, can I like... Oh. What is this? Is that push? Let me read it real quick. Let me... Okay. Sorry, I do need to read it. I'm very sporadic. I do risk. I'm a risk taker. Why are you aiming for me? There's people right in front of you. I don't even know how to tank! Don't aim for me! I hit you with them balls. It's kind of funny. He just throws them balls. Protect! I protect my people! Okay, I just died. Oh, I love Hawkeye. Hawkeye is also a character I would play as a duelist. But I feel like if I switch to duelist, I'm gonna get yelled at.
Always rise again.
Look, I sent you on Discord. My Discord is not loaded up right now, so give me a second to do that.
Only 60 seconds left.
Protect with the bubble. What's the bubble? Is that B? Okay, I see. Fuck, fuck. Where are you? Protect you! Fuck! I freaked out! I pressed everything at one time! This is so my bad. Okay, wait. Where's...
Now is our moment.
Wait! How do I do that, though? Like, can I... Okay, RB. Ah! Okay, I got it. I understand now. For the most part. I know how to protect at least. Okay. Well, it was close. There's someone on top. What does he do? He throws rocks, right? I'm gonna throw a rock. Protect! You want some, lady? What the fuck is that? Zoid? Okay, I see. I got 5 seconds. Cool down. No. 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Where's everyone at? I don't know. Where's she at? I don't know. There she is. Wait, but why me? Is it because I'm a tank? Protect my lady! Look at you. Nah. That's me freaking out again. The moon haunts you.
Final score: 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, GG's. I'm gonna call it here. Okay, man. No problem. Hey, I'm not gonna say it's because they took my Luna. They're a good Luna. They are. But the problem being, I'm not a great tank. I think if I learned how to play Magneto, I could actually play him. He cool. Feel Magneto! Let's see. No, the fuck. They're not good with Luna. I know it's scary as a tank, but stay at the front and trust your healers. Be brave. I trusted my healers, and she healed me, and then she didn't. So it was 28 years. My rivals is done updating. Let's go. Should we keep trying? What level are you now, DBZ? Are you're silver still? But silver what? Silver 3? You about to be out of my league! Oh my gosh, I'm sweating. I'm gonna go grab an energy drink because I did drink all my coffee. And my coffee is warm. I don't like it warm. straight bullshit. She just let people die. But yeah, he kept dropping the bomb on me. That's how I kept dying. And because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm still here. I'm just going to the kitchen, guys. Don't look at my model. She might look weird. Better get some good ASMR on this can.
I'm Luna Snow. Like the moon, I shine in darkness.
You ready? No, not a literal bomb. This what? Wait, what? Wait, did they? They were being racist? Is that what you're saying? Why'd they leave? What the heck? We just started. They left the game already?
They'll be coming in 30 seconds.
Sorry.
Stay strong.
Sorry. At least I'm Luna, so I could just run there.
So, you're a pop star, huh?
My favorite skin right here. Aw.
Who knows? You might still be. Good music never goes out of style.
One time on rank, I lost 10 times in a row. After that, I won 10 times in a row. Ooh, okay.
The battle starts in 5.
I feel like my luck isn't
3, 2.
like that. I feel like I just get defeat. Everybody get their daily dose of hot dogs today. Huh?
Reality is collapsing, and you lot are fighting each other. Are you daft?
Do a girl like a girl.
No, they didn't get their daily dose of hot dogs. When I was doing my... Dude, it was a jump scare. Where did he come from? Oh my gosh, okay. Shit. No. Come on, heal her. Lady, you can heal yourself too, because you got that little bubble thing. Throw your bubble, please. No! Alright. I've been told if you lose too many matches in a row, it puts you into bot matches. That's what I heard too. I've been told that too. So I was debating about just doing quick play. That way I can still at least get some points toward... Oh. Okay, I guess that's a sign. No, we need a daily dose of Hana. I'm dead. Grim, are you online? No, he's not online. Okay. I was gonna let Grim play with us if we're gonna go to quick play. Bot matches are for pubs, not ranked. Oh, okay, bet. So we're good. Because playing against bots, bro, they can be so annoying. Because it's just like, I feel like I'm getting an easy trial to be let win, and I don't want... I hate when people let me win. It's nice sometimes, it is. But at the same time, like you, DBZ, you let me win our 1v1s. I don't like to be let win. I need to know my place. Don't boost my head like that. I do not need it. A surprise waiting for you, Han, on Discord. Is it your model?
I'm Luna Snow.
Oh, we're cooked.
Like the moon, I shine in darkness.
I can't play Gambit, my guy. I'm sorry. Love you, though. What? Need a hop up. It's okay, man. No worries. No worries. We'll see you later, man. Thanks for playing with us and for everything else. What do I do? Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
Before you attack, get ready.
We're gonna need a little Asgardian.
That's funny. That's my favorite Captain America skin, guys. Right there. Every time I see it, I become a simp. You need to stop. You need to stop. You need to stop.
Battle starts in 5,
No!
4, 3, 2, 1.
Went from one dude to another. No, no, not Thor. It's gonna remind me of Beef Chungus. Why he got long hair? I don't think I've seen that Thor skin. What the hell? I got flustered. What do I? Oh, DBZ, I'm saying that you
Life energy flows stronger.
Wait, don't take it out of context now. Don't take it out of context. Not what I mean. I meant like you boost. What's it? How do you say it? Like you boost my ego if you let me win against you because you're a good player, and if you let me win against you, I'm gonna think that I'm a good player. But like in reality, I'm just mid. You feel me? You feel me? You understand? Ah!
Strong together.
Thor, sir! Thor, sir! I can't get you! He's on your ass!
Keep going.
What happened? Was that a glitch? I swear I thought I saw him following him.
I like the cold. It's okay. Admit it. You need me. Needs some help. I am healed.
Mantis, you're so gorgeous! Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you for switching to a healer. That was so nice. I thought I was gonna be the only one for a second. I got scared. Oh my god, they're just teaming up against y'all.
Do I go like a girl?
What? I'm sweating. I'm sweating, guys. I'm about to start. Oh, I can't say that. That sounds. You know what? I need to stop talking. I was about to say I need to strip. Bad Hana! Bad Hana! No, it's not.
I can be
The Spider-Man keeps jumping in and out. What up, sir? Sir? He's somewhere over here. Shit. I'm like, I'm stuck in between. Go.
I like the cold. I am healed.
That's just so loud. I need to turn that thing down. It literally. Oh. No! Kill me! No, I don't want you. No! Please. The Wanda is irritating. The Spider-Man's a little irritating to me. Thank you. Hi, frozen. I see you going in. Going around? Okay. Should I do it?
I am ready
Huh?
to put on a show.
Worth every point. I swear to God, girl. I can't run away. I got stuck. Foxy.
Double KO. Get that vehicle moving again.
Crazy. Grim, do you want to play? I was gonna do quick play after this, cause I'm giving up. I've been losing. And winning. Winning like one. Fuck.
Nowhere yet.
Oh my gosh, I actually lagged? No way. If I'm lagging with the low frame rates, that's bad. Get off me! We're not gonna do customs. No customs, by the way. Shit, let me get a bed. Come on, faster. Wow, oh my gosh, good job. You did amazing!
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Nice shot. Good night. Yeah, I don't recommend leaving my stream on for cozy bedtime. It can sound cozy at first, and then you get a a scream here and there. Come on, come on. I'm trying to get you, I'm trying to get you. Sir, sir! Okay, fine, if you want to just go behind me, do that. I ain't gonna heal you though. Like, you're too far. They're all dying, they're all dying. Yo! Ah! No! I don't even know who to focus on. There we go. Okay. Okay. No, no, never not go. I jinxed us. I jinxed us. My bad. Again? Ah! Ah!
Only 60 seconds left.
Hey, we're good. We're good. We got this, guys. We got this.
Keep going.
Good night, guiding Alex.
Our enemies are here.
No!
Friends, gather around.
Okay. Wow, she going off. She popping off. He's here. Bam! So is he. Oh.
Down to 30 seconds. Almost there.
Wow.
Don't turn back now.
Guys, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. Should I do it now? Okay, yeah.
I'm ready to put on a show.
It's a little far back. It's a little farther back than I thought it was.
It's clobbering time!
Hell no. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Come on, come on. Okay, okay.
Checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Good job. Good job. You guys are doing it easy.
It's okay. Admit it. You need me.
Just gonna stay in my booty right here. Just gonna stay right here. Kill you from a distance. Just watching me? You just watching me? Ah! You got lucky! Lucky I don't know where to aim! No. Dude, how did you get it so fast? Shit, 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 shit. Shit, shit, shit. No, I got you. I got you, Mantis. Don't worry, I'm doing my best. Doing my best. Okay, never mind. Shit, 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 shit. Keep on going! Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You know, I forgot to blink. Oh my. I forgot to blink and my eyes are dry. I have my contacts in today, so... Where?
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Final 10 seconds.
Who did he ult on? The hell? Ah!
A nice deep freeze.
I'm scared! I'm scared, baby!
Going to overtime.
Damn! Oh, that's a cool skin, though. Wow.
Don't let anything stand in your way.
Run, Luna! She looks so cute. I really do like this skin. It's very nice. It is very nice. I'm getting distracted now.
Big chance.
Oh, yeah, I didn't shield up. I didn't mean to do it.
Fear does so.
Wow! Let's go!
Score is 3, 2, 0.
Alright, I'm on Rivals and waiting. Sorry, Graham, you might be waiting a little bit.
Including which side you're on.
We still have the other half of the batch.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
I appreciate you, though.
Like the moon, I shine.
Fuck Cyclops. Fuck Cycrim. You can spectate us even though you're watching the stream. Spider-Man always being everywhere but never where you shoot. You know, you're so right. Hello? Hello? Oh, I thought he blasted over there. I was like, what the fuck? I juked her. She was following me. And I went to the wall. And she followed me to the wall. Everyone in this game besides Hana. Wow! Wait! DBZ, I don't think they're that bad. I don't think they're bad.
The battle starts in 5,
Well.
4, 3,
Ooh.
2, 1.
Yo, I just remembered this is the Beef Chungus map. Just missed. Okay, I don't like that. I didn't like that. No, 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 no. Buddy. Buddy, come over here. Okay, you're cooked. You're cooked. Now you're not. Ah! Shh, no, no. Whoa. We're singing a song about all my screams. I could be like ad-lib in some videos. Oh, damn, why are you so fast? Oh, damn. No! How did you know when to jump?
We're finding our groove.
Fuck! I'm sorry. I let him die. Spider-Man! 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 Do whatever Spider-Man does. But I really just can't aim with that thing. I have good moments and a lot of bad ones. Like, hello? I mean, it's bronze. True. Sorry. I am rank right now. Oh, I'm rank. I mean, I'm bronze rank right now. I am just a bronze 2. Unfortunately. I wish I was higher, and I try to play to get higher. But unfortunately, I am not that great. What? I'm sorry. Oh, human, I just saw you were here. Ah! How did she not get us? I just can't aim. That's my issue. I need to play more like aim training games. I feel like if I did, then I could be better at these games. Okay.
Admit it. You need me.
Why are you watching them? Why are you watching them? Why is he moving? Is he moving? My God! Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. Usually I play Grounded too. Oh really? You think I like playing Grounded too? Honestly, when I was watching you play, it does look fun, but I'm gonna get confused a lot about the mechanics. Like trying to Oh my gosh, I can't aim. Trying to heal you from a distance is hard. Wow, you guys are so good. What the fuck? What the fuck? What happened? Oh. Just he's LOLing. Why are you LOLing? Ah! Okay, well I can't really get you, sir. Should I just stand here? Look pretty? Wow! What the freak? I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried, but I didn't need to. I didn't need to be worried.
Another epic victory. Big win.
3 huh? Oh my gosh, shameful taco. Yeah. Nah. Aw, they shouldn't be mean. What if like they're just trying to you know level up like the rest of us? All right, Grimmy, Mr. Grimswald. Let me change this. I'm just gonna do some quick matches now. At the beach? All I see is that he's at the beach. What the fuck? That's funny. Oh wait, humans, did you want to join too? Or you're in the match? You're in the match, aren't you? Yeah, you be in the match. You're really good too, oh my gosh. Jesus, wait, what the hell? Damn. Can I invite you? Wow! Alright, I'll start the game. You guys think I can go to the bathroom real quick before it loads? You wanna bet?
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Oh, Minnie, did you drink the water bean? I did it, guys! I did it! And don't worry, yes, I washed my hands, of course. Dude, this game is pretty quick. We should probably like call this quick play or something. Ooh, okay, sexy lady.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Oh, that's funny. Jesus? Question mark? Oh, I did say that, didn't I?
I'd save you, Spider. So tell me, are you worth it?
I can chill like human carry. Wild.
All I can do is try my
You guys should compete for
every day by doing what Cap would have done.
MVP.
The battle starts.
Ah! Ah!
3, 2,
Delicious.
1.
Meow. I actually am just gonna chill too. I'm not gonna focus so hard on healing you guys. Sorry. Maybe I will on instinct. Magneto versus Magneto. Who's gonna win? Bit? Who the hell? You like playing the Hood, Grim? How is he? I haven't even touched him before. Oh my god. Hello? Oh. No! He can't even kill me. Get him, humans! Get him! Kill him!
It's okay. Admit it. You need me.
Oh my gosh, he's throwing out his things so hard over here, Jesus. Oh my gosh. He's flying! He's flying! You love the Hood, but you hate his personality? What's wrong with his personality?
Almost there. Don't turn back now.
I know nothing about the Hood, so I don't know anything about his lore.
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the
What the hell is that? I'm hit! No! The heck? Oh man! You said Vendeja? Like, leave him alone! I'm gonna ult on purpose, how about that? Oh, I'm done. Wait, and then he ulted too. I don't want to feel the Magneto. him too, man. He got me twice. Ooh!
Someone needs a snowball in the face.
I dropped my headphones for a second. I couldn't hear anything. I am here. Never fear. Hana is here. No, he got me. That feels personal. That feels like it's more than just because I'm a healer.
I've still got
Maybe because I killed him when he was flying. He's behind you guys, by the way.
snowball fight.
Talk about personal.
Smashed.
You need healing. Then go heal yourself. Good duh. Sorry. This is my quick play Hana side. I just didn't hear. You what's up? Wow. Look nice. That scared me. I was like, who the hell is that? It's just Grim. Go off, Grim! Again? Where's she? Shit, I missed! No! No!
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Oh god. Wasn't good. Little energy.
I'm back in the fight.
So I've seen this thing on Twitch. It's like a what is this? What is that called? An extension that you guys can collect like Pokemon cards. I don't know if I can make the Pokemon cards myself, but I need to heal you. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I definitely just am not that great. Sorry. But I thought that'd be kind of cool. You guys can collect Pokemon cards using channel points. So it's another way for you to use your channel points. Like I said, I don't know if I can use, like, customize it to be like Hana cards, but I can try. I'm gonna check that out later. I was thinking about doing that maybe after playing, just to chill. You guys can see the process of me trying to set things up.
Emotional damage.
That Loki scared me. It was loud in my ear. Can I aim? I need to aim! Leave me alone! Oh my gosh! Kill! Thank you. Execution! Just aimed at the wall. Just got the wall. A street is a street tier villain who had a magic cloak. He sucks as a person and is a wannabe shot. Like, so he's a villain. He's a wannabe villain.
Be strong together.
Does he suck as a villain?
That's it. Don't let anything stand in your way.
Oh, that scared me. What's that? Yeah, you know, I remember. Haven saying your name is Arthur. Arthur. Ah! I missed again!
A nice deep freeze.
Get off. Back off, my peoples. Disappeared! Oh yeah? How do you like my show? I don't know any songs. Oh, fuck! He's coming for me! Bro, every time it happens. Ah. Okay.
I'm back in the
Wait.
fight.
Where are Shelby? Okay. Turn. Let's see. I could do karaoke, guys, but I don't know any songs to sing. When she ults, I should do like a random karaoke. But I don't know how to rap on my own. I can't come up with lyrics like that. How people do it like in the circle when they go... I don't even know how to explain it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like they go off of one word and they start rhyming with that one word. I forgot the game. You want me, Magneto? Come and get me! He's up there, guys. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that up. He's talking out! He's talking out! Oh, sorry, Grim. Sorry, Grim. Sorry, Grim. Sorry, Grim. Sorry, Grim. Sorry, Grim.
I like the cold.
Kill him! What the hell is that? Is that that lady? I'm going in! Yeah! Yeah! Oh my gosh, this is intense. What the freak? Okay, now just... What the hell is that noise? What? Ah! I can't aim! Not again! Is that bitch over here? No! Leave me alone! Leave me alone! I'm scared. I'm scared! Wow. Sweating! Sweating. Oh, hi! Natsu! Is that Natsu Dragon? Oh, the fairy so good. I'm doing amazing. How are you doing tonight? Yum! Team Dip is crazy, you guys. Let's go again. While we do that, I need to see what I need for Luna. I didn't even check. Okay, well, I guess I can check it next time. The hood is just a petty thief and gangster with a little bit of magic. Ah. Oh, really?
Pick your hero.
Okay, yeah, that does. He does sound like he needs more character, I feel like.
I'm Luna Snow. Like the moon.
I like when they're villains, I like the evil, like pure evil villains. Not the ones with sad backstories or nothing like that. Like if they're pure evil. Like Don Quixote do Flamingo. He's just evil, bro. He literally is just evil. He's one of my favorite villains of all time. I just like him. You guys know how I feel about him. So Ultron? No, Ultron has like a sad, like kind of a sad story because he didn't like ask to be born, you know what I mean? And then he tried to protect the human race by killing the human race.
30 seconds.
To summarize that. So no? What do you mean no? He's pure evil. Is he?
That's what happened.
Not from what I remember.
Lines of a war for time and space.
Even the best soldier can't fight forever. There will come a time when you must return to Krakoa and
I don't remember. Well, I'm about to rewatch Avengers Age of Ultron, so...
2,
Ooh.
1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
He enslaved alien races. Oh, okay. See, I don't know anything about that stuff. And forced AI to be his wives. What the fuck? He has no redeeming qualities, bro. Has never been nice. What? Okay, I just don't know anything about Ultron then. I'll have to look into his lore more, because that's insane.
A nice deep freeze.
No one's getting healed. I'm just gonna start attacking everybody. No, that's toxic. I'm gonna do that. I gotta heal my team.
I'm making a comeback.
No, he's been nice. Really? So, wait, what is it? Has he been nice or has he never been nice? I do like villains like Loki too, though. I wouldn't even call Loki a villain at this point, though. He is, but he isn't at the same time. hell's happening over there? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Your team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Damn! Oh my gosh. Hello? I'm just gonna pocket you. You got this. Kill everybody. I'm dead. My body just flies! He's been nice in one of his bodies, then he was murdered by himself. Oh!
I'm making a comeback.
No! Then he was... Oh, at least for the movie version MCU, he saw that the only way to protect humanity was to exterminate them, I think. Yeah, that's what I remember, because I don't know his lore in comics or any animated series or nothing like that. MCU wise, that's all I know.
Right there. I suck. Thanks so much.
But like I said, I don't remember either. Hey, nah! Grim. Grim, do something! Staring at me? Is it because you need healing? I won't lie, I wasn't really focused on healing. Comic, he's evil as fuck. Ah! Makes a lot of sense now. Wow, look at you guys. Aw. Oh, cute little, cute.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
You think you know the code?
I wasn't about to get shot. You gotta counter him. Counter his ult. Oh.
You jest, but your powers feel like nothing more than a summer.
Don't start.
Okay, say so.
The battle starts
I'm just
in
rage
5,
baiting you.
4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
That's funny. Wait, Grib, does your cousin play Rivals? I thought I heard that conversation happening during the stream, but oh. You know, I'm just standing there. I'm standing like a lost puppy looking around like, hello? All the enemy just shows up right in front of me. Yeah, oh.
The mission area is yours to capture now.
Team Atlas.
I was about to say, where'd they go? You just swallowed them. Oh, GG. You gonna... Oh,
The mission area is yours.
he jumped off the map. Your sacrifice shall not go in vain. Watch us lose the point immediately now.
Endless battle means ever increasing.
Kill him! Get frozen!
Face open.
I missed. Okay, yes, get him! Move him! Move him! Move him!
Nice deep freeze.
Oh, that's it? That was short. I thought he goes into like a turret mode for a little bit longer than that. How did you know that? Wait, how do you know? Are you a stalker? Did you see us?
The world. I am ready to put on a show.
Oh, sorry guys, you aren't here. You just started putting on a show without my team around. What, you want me, lady?
The mission area. Keep going.
Thank you for healing me. I'm trying to heal you, but I can't see.
Armed and dangerous.
No! No! I really want that Bucky Summer skin, I'm not gonna lie. It looks really good. How'd you... Okay, I was like, you didn't kill me. It was the other guy.
Odds are not in our favor.
I'm back in the fight.
Oh, I might be back. Okay. No problem. I was browsing skins because I realized I had game... Oh! We love in-game currency. That's the best. Do you have enough to get a skin of your own? And if so, what skin do you want to buy? I have one of those, I think it's like a green token that I can get one of the legend... Is it legendary? Well, I can get a skin. And I still haven't chosen a skin, like which one I want to get. I'm so indecisive. You there! Get frozen! Frozen to death! You there! Get! Yeah. Whatever she did. I think she stabbed her. Oh. Ah! Wait, is that my teammate? I hope not. Just start laughing in their face if it is. My bad, bro. Let's go! You want this? No, you don't! No, you don't!
It's almost yours.
You are welcome.
Grow up. I like the cool.
Yes. You. Ah! I can't reach. I just can't aim. Oh, missed that one. Ew, wow, GG, good job. Wait, did we win? Or is that the first one? Okay, my bad. My bad. I thought we won.
White Fox is always with me in spirit.
I don't know if you guys watch Streamer University, but I heard their prom is today. Oh. So I'm gonna go over here.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
You.
The thing about us villains, Hefe, we make capes look good.
Look at all those teeth you got in there. What if I pull one out and use it as a fossil? Or not use it as a fossil, but like fossilize it, and then I get money.
The Brotherhood of
Do you think I can?
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2.
You should have started barking.
All you need to do is capture the
Really
mission.
cute. I love when Jeff barks. He's so cute when he barks.
why stop at one city when I could take over 10 realms?
No, thank you. Where are they? Where are they? I'm shooting randomly.
I feel like myself again.
Ah. Oh, I missed.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
He's just floating in the air. What the fuck? Is that allowed? Is that allowed?
It's okay. Admit it.
Oh, sorry. Let you die. My bad. What the hell?
I can be reckless now.
Meow. Meow. Ah! No! No! When I keep jumping. Shit, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm trying to heal you. We're going in circles. No! I did just run away the moment I showed up. I forgot to feed my dogs. Oh! Not the dogs! Oh my gosh! Wait, what kind of dogs do you have? I love doggies. I love animals in general. They're so cute. Aw, nice. Wait, you want some? You want some of us? Healers over here? Kill her! I'll be the distraction. Guess not. Ooh, ooh. Ah! No! Alright, fine. We want to go over. Oh! Still alive, bitch! Ha ha! No! Why he died? He died like a... wait. Sorry, my brain's processing faster than I can speak. He looked like he was still alive, even though he died.
There they are. Fear Bessa.
Go, girl, go! Thank you! The Grace Age! Oh! Shit! No way! I decided to bite you instead. Hey, let's go! Australian Shepherd! Oh, I love Australian Shepherds. They're so cute.
They've almost got it.
Another tiny dog. which is a mix of all the above. Oh, we got a little mutt. Cutie. Cutie, cutie, cutie. Wait, I'm done. You said you bought an emote instead. Which emote did you buy? The sitting down one? It's a good emote, I won't lie. I like it. Kill that motherfucker! Should I just lock in real quick? Ooh, okay, I'm not locking. I'm locking out. She's after me. She's after me. Nope. Just sent a kiss in my squad.
That's 3.
I think I jinxed us when I said GG earlier. My bad. My bad, guys.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
It's okay, y'all still did amazing. Damn. Yeah, she killed us. She killed us. Yeah, see the heal. Healing is so bad. I did so bad. I don't think I even tried that much. Okay, wait. I need to see. Thank you, Grim. Where's my girly? Oh, I love Jubilee too. She's so lit. Literally. Because, you know, fireworks. Wow. Okay. I don't know what that is. Missions. Wait, what? Alright. Okay. Bet. You did good, Hannah. Aw, thanks. Well, you guys did amazing. Nivazi, why didn't you mention Grim? We all did good. We all did amazing. I'm gonna play Rivals myself. Bet. Do you play on PC? Demise Ghoul. Your name is so cool. Demise. The word just sounds fancy. Grimma for... He still did good. Don't be like that now. You all giggly as shit, but that's a quick play for goodness sakes. I pray you get a few brain cells. Have a wonderful night. Wow. I mean, you just joined.
Pick your hero.
Not like you were here the entire stream, buddy. At least I can be all giggly instead of hateful.
Like the moon, I shine in darkness.
No, you didn't make... Oh. Far from amazing. No, they did amazing. I didn't say me, buddy. I'm talking about them. Maybe you need to put earplugs in so you can hear better. Because I said they did amazing. My team. My Nightlilies did amazing.
White Fox is always with me in spirit.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
How do I...
Those portals of yours, where do they lead again?
The netherworld known as Limbo. Why do you ask?
Sounds like the perfect place to hide out from the cops, or the kingpin when they're hot on my tail.
Your tail.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do
Oh,
is
wait.
mission area.
Oh, I like
Guys?
that skin. Oh, cool.
This looks like a gate for the Guardians of the Galaxy.
What skin is that? She look like a disco girl. Wait, no, I'm just trying to get a closer look at you. Oh, I didn't know we were going all the way over here. Shit, my bad.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
I'm back in the
I just play console. Oh, really?
It's okay. Admit it. You need me.
Oh no! You wanna play to okay. I bet you're a good player, Demise. A good Venom player. You seem like you would know what you're doing. You would protect your healers. Wah! I can't aim! Fuck that. I'm just gonna heal you guys instead. Let me here! You know, I set up my what's that called? My PlayStation for once. Thank you. She only came after me because I walked around the map and I froze her. Did I freeze her? I tried to kill her at least. Definitely not intentional. It was just an accident. I was there at the wrong time. Oh. I'm gonna run away. Come at me! Come at me! You want me? Huh? I heard her. She said, "You're back." Where is she? I'm coming back. I'm sorry. I'm coming back. I forgot to get down. I'm just trying not to get shot. Shit! No! Apologies for the delay. It's okay. How you doing? How's work going? Kitsumi? Is it still rough? I hope it got better from last time we spoke about it.
Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Right now, we did some competitive earlier. Now we just chilling. I mean, I would like to say chilling, but it feels the same, honestly. When people say bronze match is the same as quick play, I mean, it kind of is, from what I see. Okay, I do need to do more healing, so let me get my healing up. Getting better, but still, aww. But at least it's getting better. We focus on the positives. That's good. I'm glad it's getting better at least. Where? This just scared me. I found one. Where'd you find one? I can't miss this big target here. Okay, we can just stand here now. We're all just standing here like, what do we do? I feel like DBC's the only one that's going in over there.
Maximum!
Shit! Oh, hello? I didn't know he could actually do that in the sky. No. Stay alive. Stay alive. You don't die until I tell you to die. Overtime. I could just stand here and look pretty.
White Fox is always with me in spirit.
Princess deserves her privacy. This is a nice spot.
Blow up.
Oh wow. Oh my gosh, you guys are matching! That's so cute.
Before you attack, get ready.
Oh, here, okay, I put on a dance party for you. Let me get up.
I bet I would have been super
Get it! Get it!
when I was a teenage mall rat.
You might still be. Good music never goes out of style.
Sure,
but tastes change.
Very noise. Very noise. You
I'm all about
The battle starts in 5,
guys are lit. Damn, you're going so fast. What the fuck?
2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
They should have a roar. Do they have a roar emote for
And I cost
Dino?
a pretty penny.
Cause that'd be cute. You know how they have a bark one for Jeff? Where? Scared me. Oh, oh.
who do we have here?
Ha 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 ha! Nice, nice grip. I see them in the corner. They're in the corner.
Capture now.
I'm just focused on the killing them. Oh, well, that works too. Ah! You jump so high, lady. I'm trying to heal you. You just jump so high. It's too fast for me. My brain don't process that quickly. Oh no! I'm sorry, Grip. I wasn't fast enough. That bitch got payback on you, I think. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? I don't like that skid, sir. Oh, I thought I died. Oh, hello. Ah! Ah! Wait, come back! Wait, I think we can be friends. Can we be friends? He didn't even try to attack me. I know I froze him, but like even after that, he didn't try to attack me. Oh, this is not a good spot. Okay, we can't be friends. Okay, my bad. I got the wrong message there. I feel like that was easier to do in Overwatch. I've made friends with the enemy team. They let me live. They let me run away. But to be fair, I did shoot him first, so I should have just kept following him. That'd been funny. Jump! Because I put him in jump, lady. Jump, jump! Okay, where are we going? You going around? Okay, bet. Oh shit! What the hell? Kill him! No, okay, I'm cooked.
Born again!
No way. What the fuck? Yo, thank you. Okay. I don't know where she is. Shit. God damn it! I'm cooked. They know I'm here. Okay, they don't know I'm here. Okay, I'm running around until they get here. I'm scared. Fuck, they're right there. They're right behind me. They're right behind me!
We're being targeted.
Be strong together.
The shooter has been dead. I feel better already.
You're amazing, human. Thank you. What the hell? What the? Ah! No! So bonded. You too cocky. He's trying to get me!
Your powers are mine!
I'm scared. He's gonna come back. He's gonna come back. There's a lot of them around. I don't know where to go. Shit. Wow. It's okay, guys. We got this. We can do this.
White Fox is always with me in spirit.
What?
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
That's interesting.
Trying to save our city cat. I knew I could count on you.
Don't expect me to join the Avengers or anything, Spider. I did it for me, not for the greater good.
Play the master criminal angle all you want, but you've got what it takes to be.
Sus. Suspicious.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3,
Oh.
2, 1.
Oh, hello there.
All you All you need to do is capture the mission area.
Bye bye.
Got it?
Bye bye.
Where's the timeline where we all just go down to the bodega for a sandwich?
More bad guys. Just what we need. Long-range shooter.
Nah. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Wait!
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Why did he do that? I was trying to be friends.
Hey now.
What an a-hole. Should be friends. Will you guys get upset if I do that? Wait, I didn't even think about that. Don't be mad. I try to convert him, you know, convert him to our side, and then he can, you know, help us.
That's right. Everything is
They're collecting the point. It's the Spider-Man. That's what you get for not being friends with me. Kill him! Okay, I'm not fast enough. You guys are so fast. No! Sorry. Okay, fine. You guys want to fight me? Do some! Do some! Hit me! Kill me! Fuck, I'm sorry, Grim. I'm sorry, Grim. You gonna eat dinner now? Okay. Enjoy your meals? Are you cooking dinner or ordering out? Damn, the fuck? Careful, careful, be careful.
We've been discovered.
Who's we? Ooh, nah. Hell no, fuck you! You're rude! You're rude! I'm trying to be friends with you! This is what happens. This is why I have trust issues. Damn.
Someone needs a snowball in the face.
That's gonna be sorry if I ever get close.
I'm getting scared, I'm scared. What do you want from me? Why are you scared? Is it because of the dinosaur behind me?
You need me.
Where? Yeah, there you are. There you are. See. What the hell? What was that? I just can't aim.
Time to celebrate. You've captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
Behind you! No, I wish I'd be your friend. I don't want to be your friend anymore. I don't want to talk to you, sir. Sir. Leave me alone. Enemy Spider-Man. I paid no attention to you, sir. No attention to you. Again! Good. My body just flopped midair. Oh wait, I'm dead. I thought he was just. I thought he was just a clone. I didn't think he was there. I don't like that. Oh no. Careful, lady!
It's okay. Admit it. You need me.
Ah! Just I'm getting stuck in here.
Capture this area.
Oh! I saw him. He's over here. I knew it.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man.
I'm scared. He's right behind you. He's behind you. Oh, he's in front of us! I can't. No. I was trying to go around the pillar so I could heal y'all, but he died before I could get there. Sorry. noise.
It's almost yours.
I suck.
What the hell? Where'd you go?
Some unwanted guests. Mark my prey.
Okay. Well, that didn't, nope. That didn't work. Ninja vanish. No, for real. Like, you just, in midair, you just vanished. Like, what the hell?
I've still got songs to sing.
Damn. He got all of you guys.
Get ready to defend.
What was there?
Be strong together.
Fuck.
Team Atlas.
Where'd he go? I should have been able to do it. He was low health. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's just so fast. I'm on my way.
Enjoy the amplifier.
Go run faster, Luna. Oh, thank God you guys did it. You guys are amazing. Carried. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, you are. Good job, team. You guys did amazing. GG's. Damn. God damn. You guys killed it, literally. Alright, I'm gonna take a short break. Take Bean out for a second, and then I'll be back, okay? I'm back in like... It might be like 5 minutes, I'm not gonna lie, because Bean takes a long time to go pee. Okay, I'll be right back. No. W human for carrying the heels. Okay, be right back. I was asking if you guys want to continue to play. Wow. Ha. Oops, yeah, literally oops. I'm assuming Grim doesn't want to play since he's not here anymore. I'll play whatever. I'm debating. Okay, let's do one more. I'm gonna see how I feel. Because there is some things I am planning on for channel points for you guys. I'm trying to come up with ways that doesn't really mess with my model since I had that hiccup with my hair getting cut off every time you guys redeem something. So like, I have the sound alerts, but I'm trying to find something else you guys can use channel points for. I'm dead. Wow, it looks so cool. Looks cool.
I'm Luna Snow, like the moon.
Yeah, no, I just have a lot of... I want to also make the sound alerts of my own voices. It'd be funny. That was actually funny, I'm done. Yep. So stuff like that, you know? Sound alerts like that. But I just don't know. I need to do more research. There's so many things like out there that people do for... Oh, hello there.
Check it out.
I thought you were gonna change your skin.
Cape Strange. Curious who is more powerful?
You can change your skin, sir.
You are dealing with forces most mortals cannot even begin.
Too bad the only person who can see John Cena is on permanent vacation.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I just got Lord Adam yesterday. I didn't even notice I played him that much. Oh. Well, congratulations. What, and Squid? What's his name? Or her? They, them? Oh. Queen. Oh, where? Got scared. Start ulting. No, please. He's hulking out! No! No, please don't hit me! I was like, who are you shooting at, sir? But I see them right... Oh! Ah! He's mad! He's mad because I killed him! Ah! You didn't read that DM, did you? No, I did. Well, not the recent ones. Because I don't have my Discord up right now. I pull up. Who? Luna Bloom joined and then immediately left the Discord. Suspicious. Aww. Me actively reading Discord. I'm sorry. Let me actually play the game. My bad. Wait, you want some, sir? You want some of this shit? Come on, man! Come here!
Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
You're the one that wanted this. I was waiting for you to load. I can't do it, guys. I can't do it. I can't 1v1 him. Oh, Chuck Norris?
I've still got songs to sing.
You know, I heard that reference before, but it's just I don't understand it. I'm sorry. He's gonna be out here somewhere. He's waiting for me. I know he is. He got mad because I killed him the first. I'm scared now. No! I don't want to get smashed by Hulk. I pass. No! first half. Yeah, then my aim just progressively got worse.
I'm back in the fight.
We did it! Awesome!
You killed him, thank you, human. No, leave my boy alone.
Us against the world.
Bring on the chaos!
Okay, okay.
Going to overtime.
You know, I think I might actually need extra soundproof boards because the way I screamed earlier was crazy. I literally screamed so loud. I need to calm down. I need to chill out. I literally no! Kill him! Stupid motherfucker! Kill him!
I was worried.
No, please. I'm trying. Shit! Okay, fine. Fuck you guys. I am putting on shows.
Render me assistance!
Hit me!
It's okay. You need me.
I can't freeze him, guys! I can't freeze him! No! Aww, my contact force is a Black Panther. Why is he like... Did he change? Did mother freaker.
Glory is almost
Someone
yours.
needs a snowball in the face. It's okay. Admit it. You need me.
You know what's funny? I put my mic back more on my desk because I feel like I was really loud, and I even turned my mic down, but it sounds the same. Isn't that crazy? It sounds literally the same.
Going to overtime.
And cut. No! Where'd you go? They're behind me. Like, they're behind me. No, they're not behind me. I'm just going crazy. Yo, I genuinely screamed though. Like, that was wild. But no, DBZ, I did read your...
White Fox is always with me in spirit.
I just realized I put a lot of emotes in my DMs when I talk to people.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
And I send paragraph messages. I try to get... So when I respond to you guys, I feel bad because I try to respond to like everything you say, and...
Not even slightly, Mr. Robbins. You are dealing with forces most mortals cannot even begin to comprehend. Don't.
I mean, I join you.
Like the moon.
Oh, no, I'm gonna join you.
4,
It's okay. Luna can wait.
1.
But who should I play?
All you do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Fuck it. I'm just gonna play my girl. My girl. I want to get her a new skin. Maybe I should get the Venom skin so I can match you when you're Spider-Man. Plus, that guy's gonna try to kill me anyway. Where? Kill him! What? Oh, fuck, you got it. Okay, go. Ah! They're everywhere!
The mission area is yours.
I see you. Been a while since I played Squirrel Girl too.
Ooh, a touch of healing.
Come on! Maybe I should play Hawkeye. Dude, play something different. Okay, Jesus Christ. Sorry, Lord. My bad. Oh. Damn! He got a machine gun on him. Oh my gosh. crashing out low key. But it's my fault. I need to. Ooh, I didn't even notice you guys did that. It's so cute. Oh my god, I missed something.
I appreciate you.
The moon!
Talk about moon haunting! No! I died! I thought I was gonna survive that. I thought I bounced out in time, and I didn't. I failed! I failed. I'm not a good DPS. Walk into it!
Face oblivion!
Face the nuts that I have. I'm sorry, that scared me. I didn't think he was shooting at us. Oh my gosh, I'm going crazy. Am I going crazy? I think I'm going crazy. I am going crazy. Because I thought someone was in here. And there's no one in here. The hell? Fuck yeah. Oh, I should have went around. I should have went around. Okay, I need lock-in. I need lock-in, dude. Okay. Let me see. I could play Wanda. Or Hawkeye. Or Cyclops.
30 seconds before you attack.
I don't know. I'm too indecisive.
Sweet cake, Doc.
Yeah.
In your club, sense it.
Wait, how do I tap? No, I thought it's tap, 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 tap. Yes. Yes. No! What do you mean no?
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
They're probably a better DPS than me.
White Fox is always with me in spirit.
Wait, did they change? Okay, they did.
Some assistance, please.
Well, now I have to live up to my name. If I don't, they're gonna think I'm bad. I can't just like say that in the chat and then be like, yeah, I want to heal, and then be a bad healer. You feel me? I gotta actually lock in now. Shit, I'm not locking in. My brain's locking out of my head. Shit, no, I'm doing bad. Let me stay in the back room. Wait, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go. Shit. I'm good. I'm alive still. How am I alive? That's my secret, Captain. I'm always a bad healer. That's fucking crazy. What do you mean they're not better DPS? They have to be. There ain't no way. That's a lord. They lorded. My god, they're all dying. Damn it, dude. Gotcha. I mean, I don't think I'm a good DPS, period, though. Oh, I'm gonna head out. Alright, Grim. Good night, Grim. I was like, who is that? Shit, I can't kill you. There you go. Sorry, it took me a while to get up here because they kept killing me near the spawn. Shit, you killed me. Huh? What? please, 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 heal.
Ready to put on a show.
Let me dance for you guys. Let me dance. I look pretty while you kill. Fuck him up. Okay. Ooh, yay. Later, homie. That's cute. I'm gonna use that now. Where? Caution, where? Okay. They're behind me. I gotta stay back here. Oh, no! I killed the guy.
Us against the world.
Shit, I can't. No. No! Damn! You know, that guy really doesn't like me. Oh! No way! Please. Why does this feel more intense than those freaking matches? You lucky I just don't know how to aim, buddy. If I knew how to aim, you'd be dead. Ah! Doesn't he come after me? No!
Going to overtime.
I'm trying to heal. No! What was that bubble noise? It's kind of cute. Ah! I'm sorry, guys. I failed you. I let you down. I let you down.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
No, they're gonna roast me. They're roasting me now. Beauty magic man. Wait, I'm done. He said that like Hulk. Beauty magic man. That's okay, human. You did amazing. And so did you, DBZ. I'm sorry. I didn't do better. Huh? What's this? I don't know what that is. I denied it though. You kill me in 1v1s constantly, so... No! Don't you dare! I am not... I'm not better than you at DPS. Don't you even lie right now. Son, wait, I just saw that. Nah, I did terrible, guys. I did terrible. I am not a good DPS. That's like the worst I am. I feel like I'm a better tank than DPS, and that's saying a lot, I feel like. I'm gonna see what everyone else chooses. Actually, you guys pick first. You know what? I'm just gonna go with the flow. It's too hot in this castle for me to... You know, speaking of, let me just get some agua break. Okay. I'm gonna try Captain America. America! Guess what I got? But I don't like the skin for him.
Before you attack. Get ready.
I just got it for... Ooh. Oh, she looks good.
Headed down a dangerous path, kid. The old man's just angry he couldn't turn me into one.
Oh, Frog Cafe, so sweet. What's your tank main? Well, technically, my tank main would be Emma Frost. I do play her the most out of the tanks, but I do like playing Captain America too. So we're just gonna see how it goes. DBZ, stop lying. I am not good at everything, okay? I'm not a good player, period. I just go with the vibes now.
That's the boost I needed.
I forgot to play him. I got you, bro! Thank you. Okay. Right, I forgot. I pushed too far ahead. We'll be alright? We'll be good? We good?
Let's dance.
Let's dance, bruh! I can do this all day. I can do this all day. I don't want to kill you though, because you're like... Oh, she's gonna kill me. She killed me. What? Oh, thank you, human. I appreciate you.
You're my favorite raccoon.
Thank you, Kirasumi. I hope you have a good night. Hope work isn't too stressful on you either.
Help get that vehicle to its destination.
Talk about dark. Looks like we're about to get light.
Time to manhandle some peoples. Oh, okay, well you died. I didn't even need to manhandle you, bro. Come here! You! What the hell does this do? I'm confused. Put the shield up, sir! Broughton! Come at me! No! I don't want to be Venom. I don't want to be Venom, bro.
I am ready to put on a show.
I don't know what I'm doing. Obviously.
It's spider time!
Miss. There you are. No, where'd you go? I see you, Spider-Man. Leave. No! No! I failed. I was supposed to protect my healer. I knew he was going after her. Freaker, I'm so sorry, my queen. I left you. I failed you. Wait. Is she alive? I thought she died.
Let's dance.
Let's dance. I just block. Assemble! Fuck you, sir! Where'd he go? This is me going with the vibes. This is going with the vibes. Be running. Be running, running. Kill him! Fuck him up! Fuck him up, BBC! Run! Where'd he go? I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry, Frog Cafe. It's okay.
Keep up the momentum.
It's okay. Where? Come on, come on. Come on. What do you want from us, huh? Huh? You want some of this? You want some of Captain Oh, yes she does. She wanted some Captain America. Coming through, bro. Back up. Ma'am, I'm gonna need you to take a few steps back, please. If you'd be so kind. Just take a few steps back. I don't want this to get ugly now. I don't want to hit a woman. Oh! Except for I will if you lay your hand on my healer. Oh my god. Lady, I don't want to have to fight you. Okay, well, you killed me, so GG. Did I fight a good fight? I don't think so. Watch out, don't go in there. Don't go in there. Hello there. I don't even understand what this does, to be honest. Like, what am I doing right now? I'm like, ah! Hello? Hello? Bro, this is so bad. 2-4.
Prepare to engage.
Okay, let me lock in a little bit. Okay, that's not locking in. Can I reach something here? I don't think I can. That didn't kill me. Okay, let me just go kill myself then. Oh, thank you! Thank you!
Let's dance.
Yeah, let's dance. Let's dance. Ah! You want some of me? Guys, it's...
Disappear!
She grabbed you. Nah. Nah. Hell no! Where the hell is that bitch? Where's she at? Where's she at? I'll ult on her. You know what? Fuck it. I'm all y'all. Where'd they go? There you are! There you are! Good. Good. Thank you. Killing us. Putting her hands on my Nightlily. Sir, back up! Sir, no! I'll go after your healer. Don't try me. I mean, you can, but like, just please don't. I'm asking nicely because I don't want to have to fight everyone at one point. Ah! I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Ah! Shit! She body slammed me. She grabbed me. Didn't you? Did you miss me? I'm scared. Am I too far ahead? Probably. Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
Judge, jury, executioner.
Oh, he was behind
The fat
me.
lady isn't singing yet.
What does that mean? The fat lady isn't singing yet?
Get that vehicle moving again!
I should be Emma.
Catch.
How do I do it? How do I run? Okay.
No stopping until we're
Time
sure
to
no is
switch.
No longer a threat.
She wants to grab my people.
As cold as diamond. How delightfully on
Just wait.
brand.
Just you wait. Oh my gosh, it's so hot here.
Spider-Man.
I want to turn my AC on so badly, but I know I can't. Come on! Come on! I'm so lucky. Oh, hell no! There's two of them! Oh my gosh, I'm on the wrong side. Come here, come here, bitch. Come here, bitch. You want some? You want some? You're probably gonna beat me because I'm low health. Oh, she's killing me. Yeah! No! Where'd she go? Damn. Noise. Got her. Try to shoot me from behind. You're not gonna make it. Get in there. Stay away. Body slam. Boom. Kicker. No. Come on. Kill her! Kill her! No, she's on me. Let's go! We won, guys! Wow. Well, that's cool. I don't think I've ever seen that before. For Iron Fist. Look how bad this is. 4-7. One final hit. I'm crying! I'm crying. What do you mean W tank? Look at what do you... No! Dude, that's so bad. It's literally garbage. Garbage. Alright. W healer. W team. You guys did amazing. But I am probably going to head off now. It is my time to take my leave for the night. At least for now. But I did have a lot of fun playing with you guys. You guys literally make the game a lot more interesting to play. When I'm playing by myself, oh my gosh, I just want to crash out half the time. Genuinely. But thank you all for playing with me and watching. It was very nice while it lasted. I appreciate you. Thank you. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. And if you didn't eat dinner yet, please get something to eat. Or breakfast, depends on whenever you're watching this. I just heard someone at my door. I don't think I was that loud. Well, I guess I did scream a little bit earlier. But it's so late, they should be sleeping too. Okay, anyways, I hope y'all have a good night. Bye-bye. I'll see you next time. Just keep an eye out on the Discord for when I'll stream next, okay? Bye-bye. Love you, my night lilies. Have a good night. Yeah, bye.